how did you slow down or stop your yelling?
I just learned that it wasn't that effective. That was probably
Truly.
the biggest thing. My career was as, primarily before this, my career as an optimizer. I do optimizing a website or optimizing online. And so as a marketer, I'm always looking for more efficient and effective ways of doing things. And I kind of did the same thing with parenting. I was yelling and getting upset and saying, like, this isn't working. Like, why do I keep doing this? And my wife is a great communicator, and so would approach me in a very positive way. And the thing she'd always say is like, how's that working for you? And we're able to communicate like that. And I think realizing that it wasn't working. I wasn't getting the results that I wanted, and figuring out, hey, that's not going to be that great for my kids, And so, yeah, I learned to meditate more, practice gratitude, breathing techniques. There's a lot. I'm still high strung, no question. I mean, you can, I'm sure, gather that, but my energy level's high, but at the same time, when I deal with them, it's different, and it's much different. And, and I think as the chaos of like baby and toddlerism transitioned and I was able to communicate with them, I just learned more efficient and effective ways of doing it,
I think what you're kind of pointing to here is the idea, and I love the idea of like approaching it that from an efficiency angle, because it's so true that yelling is like completely counterproductive. It is not helpful at all. But I love the idea of looking at what are you bringing to the table? Rather than like, okay, like what's wrong with these kids? Like, what am I bringing to the table? And what's this energy that I'm bringing to the table? Would you say that's something that I'm imagining, the dads who are not quite so clued in yet, who may say like, it's these kids, they're driving me crazy. I got to figure out how to like fix them and whatnot. And what you're pointing to is like, well, what am I bringing? Right. And is this one of the shifts and perspectives that you invite dads into?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest shift. I use the word empathy, like, and that alone of like looking at it from the other person's perspective and, like, what are they going through and what are they dealing with? When I started to shift and look at things from my children's perspective, from my wife's perspective, it completely changed how I deal with everything. And also taking responsibility for myself and my actions and my feelings and my emotions. And everything is about ourselves. And so as I dive in deeper and do this more, it just becomes so apparent of like, life is a choice, and I was giving an example. Actually, I was talking with my assistant about a response that I got from a situation where the person was so upset at the situation at hand that it wasn't even, you could, if you knew this and you take a step back, you could see that this had nothing to do with me. Now, in my old world of my own mind, I would have come back at this person, yelled back at them, had an argument, and instead I just said, wow, I'm really sorry that upset you. That was not my intention. How can we fix this? So like, that's so much better for me, And so when I realized that all of this was just easier for me to deal with, as an optimizer and efficiency, I'm like, oh, wow, I don't have to have that anger in me. I don't have to have the angst. And it's simply a matter of just me taking responsibility for the fact that maybe I did say something that was not okay, or maybe this person's going through something, and it's just a different approach in general. And so I think, what you were saying, it's like, how do I show up for my children? My children acting crazy and being loud, I can decide, is that going to bother me? Or do I know that the children either need something or they're in a situation, I can look at it differently now. And I wasn't able to do that before. I just wasn't, and I didn't have that capability. And after practice, it's like a superpower.
Catch new episodes of the Mindful Mama podcast and other free resources, including the Mindful Mom Guide at mindfulmamamentor.com. You can listen to every back catalog episode, including interviews with Dr. Dan Siegel, Iyanla Vanzant, Sharon Salzberg, and get meditations, join our private Facebook group, and more. Go to mindfulmamamentor.com now. I'll see you there.